Good afternoon, everybody. Our intrepid explorer Tom Campbell has watched every single second of the brand new WWE Unreal, as the people of Sunderland would say, Netflix series. And he's gone through and he's picked out all the juicy bits and everything we learned from this new series, kicking off with Sam. We're going to rattle through them and give our little thoughts on them here. Cody Rhodes pitches for Netflix debut segment with John Cena. On the Raw Netflix debut, Cody Rhodes pitched an angle with John Cena. The segment would have seen John Cena get surrounded in the ring by a dozen heels with Cody Rhodes making the save. Triple H, on the documentary, balks at the idea. Balks at the idea. Balks! He balks at the idea, saying that he doesn't want Cena looking like he needs saving on his first night back, which makes complete sense from Triple H's point of view.
Yeah, I think it'd be a cool visual, obviously, having Cody run down, make the save. But it's John Cena, he's Superman, so it doesn't really make sense to have him look kind of like he needs help, right? Yeah.
I guess on the other hand,
he's never really needed help. He took on the whole Nexus.
On the other hand, you could have like Cena looking like Superman, but then Cody look like Super Duper Man, since Cody is the heir apparent to his throne.
Maybe that's what Cody's thinking was.
What's the next one, Sam?
The next one is Triple H and CM Punk apparently met years before Punk's return, with Triple H revealing that he and Punk met a few years after his departure in 2013. Despite hoping for a return, Paul says he ultimately decided against it after their meeting, saying, "When there was a conversation about him coming back, I said, still the same dude, won't work." It was in the last meeting they had where both men seemed to realize the other was different. They chose to give it a shot.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else there, Sam, you naughty boy. This is a shocker.
Yeah, like I think that for the longest time, I mean, for as long as we've been doing this job, before Punk returned, it was like, that's never going to happen. There's no way they hate each other. There's absolutely no way that he's probably in contact with many people still there, especially higher ups. But, you know, it's just interesting. It goes to show that things run maybe a lot deeper.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have had the impact, weirdly. Like, for as much Punk as we've lost in those sort of missing years, it wouldn't have had the same impact if he just came back like 3 years later, would it? It'd just sort of be like a small career hiatus and then straight back into it.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
That, and he did a whole Punk thing by going to another company, and it was like, yeah, and then he came back. But I think the route he went through is ultimately probably the best route so far.
But you can see there's another scene in the documentary where you see Triple H and CM Punk just before Punk's about to go out for the WrestleMania 41 main event entrance, and Punk's getting all teary-eyed because he's finally made it to the main event. And then Triple H goes over and gives him a hug. You know who you effing are. So you can see the relationship is running quite deep these days.
Steps through the curtain, falls over.
The Netflix Raw debut main event went long. Now, this was a very interesting one. It was revealed that the Raw match between CM Punk and Seth Rollins frustrated everyone back. Well, certainly Chris Park's backstage at the very least, because it went long. Bruce Pritchard spoke, saying it was a great match, but it went long. We see the frustration in the gorilla position from Chris Park especially, who was the producer for the match. He's saying, we need to get home. Go home, everybody. Don't do the Anaconda Vice spot. Get to the finish. Get to the finish. And CM Punk and Seth Rollins are going through the motions a little. I say going through the motions. Going through what they planned out a little bit. Then he goes, aha! They haven't done that bit. They're in the corner. It's time to go home. Then the match finishes, and we go backstage again once more with Chris Park, who was profusely apologising to Bruce Pritchard, who's like, what's the quote there? Everything was overwritten, overproduced, and over everything else.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
It was very much like that. It's clear that Bruce rules with an iron fist behind the scenes.
Should have just powerbombed him through a table.
He is a bit after all.
Also, let's not forget that the show started off with The Rock talking for 45 minutes going, oh, it's Steve from accounting. Steve from accounting, such a good guy. He works at Netflix. He's been there for 5 years. I love you, Steve. And there's Mary from accounting. And that dragged on for 9 years. So you're telling me that the main event's at fault here?
But you watch the way Chris Parks is, because he's massive, let's not forget. A big man. But he looks so nervous speaking to Bruce and like, oh, sorry, sir. It makes you wonder that if I'm obviously just spitballing off the top of my head here, is Bruce a bit different when the cameras aren't rolling? That's what it made me think. Because William Regal comes over, he's like, Chris, don't be so hard on yourself. And he's like, I know, William, I just want to make that man over there, Bruce Pritchard.
It was a very big night for the company as well, so I imagine emotions were running high across the board generally. So yeah, it's probably just one of those situations.
What's the next one, sir?
The next one is that the Triple H Kevin Owens altercation wasn't planned. So when essentially Triple H seems to plan to go around Kevin Owens into the timekeeper's area, Owens is already by the entrance ramp, so they had to do something on the fly. Backstage, Triple H immediately comes up to Owens and he apologizes for the segment, but Kevin was like, no, it was awesome.
And I think this is simply proven to be true by the fact there has been no real follow-up to this segment.
No, it just sort of it happened and that's it.
Yeah. So there you go. Unreal, but it is real. It is real that it didn't mean to happen, but it did happen. I don't know what else we say about that one.
No, it's sort of just, it's one of those interesting little things that happens in wrestling, right?
Yeah.
The fact they had the thought to do something, they couldn't just sort of pass like ships in the night. Like,
well, it's interesting that Triple H was trying to get to somewhere and then ran into the guy who was on the show and thought, oh my God, we better do something here because we're both wrestlers.
Yeah.
Next up, we have how Jey Uso became the Royal Rumble winner and Triple H's concerns in the writers' room discussing the Rumble winner for this year's event. The general consensus was CM Punk or John Cena should win the Rumble. At the time, the plan was to do CM Punk versus Gunther at WrestleMania, but Ed Koskey pushed to get Jey Uso in one of the title matches, which many started agreeing on. We then see footage of Triple H asking if Jey Uso was up to the task, showing concern that Jey was getting blown up after his entrance. Jey Uso himself in the documentary says the same thing. We see it every week. Doing that for like 4 or 5 minutes will take it out.
Yeah. It's got Rikishi still won't be happy about any of this, but you know, I think ultimately though, what do you think of Jey as Rumble winner? It was very shocking to me at the time.
That was the thing, because we're always saying like, oh, anyone can win the Rumble because it's over the top rope, anything can happen. So the fact that Jey Uso did win, it's the first surprise and winner for many years.
Yeah, so I think it was probably, you know, for the best in terms of that long run shock.
Because everyone thought Cena's coming back for his retirement tour. Cena's going to win.
Everybody, like I was sat there going, it's got to be Cena. It's got to be Cena.
But Jey Uso. But Triple H was concerned though, which is nice to see. Is it nice to see?
Well,
just because of drama.
He cares. There was a spot in the Royal Rumble that almost went wrong as well. After the ladder match at the Royal Rumble, Kevin Owens apologizes to Cody Rhodes for the powerbomb off the ladder into a propped up ladder in the ring. Owens says Cody put the ladder in a slightly wrong position and he couldn't quite target it properly. Now, everyone was fine though. Cody says he felt terrible, but his spine and neck didn't hurt and he doesn't have any concussion, so he won't complain.
It's quite a funny scene because Kevin Owens is sort of sat with his back to like a production crate kind of thing, just covered in blood.
Yeah.
And Cody stood up like a hero wearing the title, but it's Kevin who is looking visibly more battered up than Cody and saying, sorry, sir, I didn't mean to do that. So that was a good
Wrestling.
one. Wrestling. They're bloody weirdos, aren't they? But also fantastic. Right, a pitch for the Women's Royal Rumble match. This would have been fantastic.
This would have been so good.
One pitch was made for Chelsea Green to win the Women's Rumble by entering number 30 after all the participants had already been eliminated. In the Booker's room we go to once again, the guys, like we have number 28 and 29 in there, double elimination. 30 comes out and 30's Chelsea Green. Automatically she is the winner. What would have been even better? It would have
been so good.
Imagine if they did like a hiding spot. So that happens, 28 and 29, double elimination. Chelsea Green comes in, starts celebrating, then someone from before in the match has been hiding under the ring, comes in, chucks Chelsea Green out, and she ends with egg on her face once again. Everyone was laughing in the Booker's room. Triple H is like,
they should have done it. It would have been like, again, a very shocking moment for the ages.
Yeah.
But we also have something coming out of the back of the Tiffy Charlotte promo that went horribly wrong.
Here's the tea, everybody.
Triple H and Bruce Pritchard in gorilla position watching the infamous promo battle between Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. They're both very upset. Triple H is very upset by the comments made by Tiffany towards Charlotte, insisting that Tiffany go and apologize to Charlotte so she can learn that this is not how we do this.
Yeah. He asks Tiffany directly, goes, which part of that wasn't on the script? And Tiffany's like, the go home bit, my part. And he's just like, right, and he disappears through the curtain. Uh-oh. But they got there in the end. The WrestleMania match was palatable.
Yeah.
More than palatable.
I remember it was kind of like, oh God, this is getting very near the knuckle.
It's what we want to see.
It is what we want to see.
It is horrible for Charlotte because she wrote in the Players Tribune article, didn't she? That sort of thing was really hard to take. But for the drama of a Netflix thing.
Yeah,
but again, Charlotte wasn't on board, so it's bad Tiffany.
Yeah, but it fit the drama aspect, didn't it?
It did, yeah. Triple H puts over the women's roster. Speaking of Hurricane Helms, after Bianca Belair wins the Elimination Chamber match, Hunter leans into Shane Helms, who's producing the match, and says the pacing and understanding is better than the effing dudes. I think the full quote is there. Adding that there's 5 great women to every 1 great guy in the Performance Center. Then he just puts over women for having better brains than us men. We're just dumb and take too long to learn things.
Just get in there and do some punches and then pin. Yeah. That's what all men's matches are. But no, it's interesting to note, like obviously if that quote's correct about the Performance Center, it means that WWE and women's wrestling is going to be, you know, a bright future for a long time, and the men have to step it up, I guess.
I guess there's some credence to sort of like them hiring more gymnasts and that kind of thing, and how matches are maybe structured in the PC like a dance routine.
Next in line stuff as well. Like it's they've got a pipeline now of very, very athletic people they can just pull from. So we've got alternative pitches for the Elimination Chamber finish as well. The documentary reveals there were multiple pictures thrown around for how the end of Elimination Chamber would go down. One of them was, as previously reported, Cody Rhodes turn heel and sell his soul to The Rock. One pitch not out there would have seen Kevin Owens becoming the WWE champion heading into WrestleMania, and it would have played out as Cody rejecting the offer from The Rock, and Rock, as director of the board, making an impromptu match between Cody and Owens for the title, which Owens would win, shockingly, and he'd leave as WWE champion. But it was ultimately Pritchard that apparently suggested Cena should turn heel, which is what we got.
Yeah. I mean, any of the above would have been nice. Just Travis Scott would have been lovely.
Yeah, that would have been great. He's just company scapegoat now, isn't he?
Yeah.
They've got to sell the rest of his merch, and then that's it.
Goodbye, and good riddance, Travis Scott. You half-arsed, half-little man. Because he's small. I don't know. But anyway, who was it I was watching the other day? It was like, F Travis Scott. Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
He ruined our main event. F that guy.
Yeah, they're all kind of giving him double barrels, aren't they? Yeah.
Up the Jelly Roll and the Bad Bunny, who was fantastic, and Happy Gilmore too. Anyway, Stone Cold Steve Austin flavored news to end the video today. The original WrestleMania 41 card on the show sees Stone Cold Steve Austin listed as a guest referee for Bron Breakker versus Drew McIntyre. Now, the story to get to that point would have been very interesting.
Yeah, I don't. Well, how does Austin even get injected into that?
That's what I'm asking.
Tell me, Sam. Does he still crash his ATV? Do we still get somebody terrified in the front row?
Yeah, you would imagine he's going to be at loggerheads with Drew rather than Bron.
Yeah. But does he bring? Is Bron and Austin option? What's good?
Shave Bron bald, mini Stone Cold.
You give him a little cut-off vest.
Yeah. But the full WrestleMania 41 card. Sorry, excuse me. I've got a cough today, Sam.
Yeah?
It's very tickly. Anyway, a very different set of matches was planned for WrestleMania 41. We see on the whiteboard. We'll alternate. Do you want to, Suzanne?
Yeah.
Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins was at the top.
Okay.
No
Yeah.
CM Punk there.
No, I can see it being tasty, but there were obviously other plans for CM Punk here. World Heavyweight Championship, Gunter defending against CM Punk, which is what we all kind of were thinking about for a while.
Lends itself to Punk being one of the two main options to win the Rumble before Jey Uso was put forward there.
Yeah.
Women's World Championship, Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair.
Nice.
Ooh.
Wyatt 6 versus Judgment Day. Spoopy versus Spoopy.
Spoopy versus Goffy.
Yeah, Spoopy versus weird BDSM goths.
Shagging goths. Women's Championship, or the Women's Championship, the SmackDown one. Nia Jax versus Jade Cargill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Jade
think
getting the win there.
Jade getting, yeah, definitely, probably Jade get the win. But would that expedite everything else that's kind of happening now?
That's interesting. That's sort of been, because you would assume that Jade's going to maybe win the title at SummerSlam.
Yeah,
it's interesting that's been held off on for a few months.
Yeah, so maybe it was just something they were thinking about, maybe extending out a little bit. We got the Women's Tag Team Championship match: Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair versus Io Sky and Asuka.
Very, very different to what we got. Very different. Bad Bunny versus Dom Mysterio.
Bring him back.
Should happen in future.
Bring him back. Where's Bad Bunny gone? And don't say off on some massive international sellout tour, because that's probably
he's on the golf
answer.
course with Happy Gilmore.
Yeah,
that's what he's doing.
He needs to get back in a ring. He was fantastic.
His cousin's getting pelted with golf balls for training purposes. It's your turn.
Rey Mysterio with Travis Scott versus Chad Gable. Travis Scott coming in and being a good guy.
That's more the level he should have been at, not the main event, for goodness sake. But yeah,
just Rey's manager.
Yeah, I think Rey Mysterio got injured, didn't he, before WrestleMania?
Yeah.
So that's why we didn't get that one there. Intercontinental Championship ladder match. Ooh. Jey Uso versus Damian Priest versus Sheamus versus Bronson Reed versus Ludwig Kaiser versus Sami Zayn.
Filth.
I'm sure that one would have humped, as the kids like to say.
That would just took it to my veins. And we also had a US title ladder match. LA Knight versus Jimmy Uso versus Andrade versus Solo Sikoa versus Santos Escobar versus Carmelo Hayes versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
Another humper.
Yeah.
My goodness me. It makes me think, though, the TLC was never ever planned for WrestleMania that we saw on the SmackDown before WrestleMania or after WrestleMania, whatever it was, the SmackDown TLC match we saw.
Yeah, we should run this card in 2K25 and sim it.
Yeah. Coming soon.
That's what we should do.
Thanks for watching. That's the end of the video. I've been Ross, joined by Sam. Thank you to Tom for the notes, and we'll see you very soon.
Bye.